And yeah, welcome back. And I'm so glad to meet you again. And yeah, I can see
Thank you.
a little sunny outside at your place.
Yes, very sunny, very sunny.
Oh, lovely, lovely. So
Yeah, and warm.
I'm at a different place today. I'm logging in from my hometown because we are celebrating a festival this weekend. It's kind of New Year, local New Year for us. So that's the reason I'm using a virtual background today.
Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
otherwise it's nighttime here. I mean, it's 7 in the evening. So
Very
yeah.
good.
So I went through your mind map, the first one that you sent me about that clarity mapping, and it was so lovely. I have put that in the PPT as well as for the last 15 minutes, I was just checking through my email and I received a couple of your Tony Buzan's, those notes and all of that, Dandapani's notes and all of that.
Yes. The reason I'm a few moments late is I scanned them on my printer and then I couldn't find where the images were. And then I found out that they were PDFs and it was nutty. So I
That's
can
okay.
obviously concentrate very well, too well.
And yeah. So how was your experience in the past 1 week about mind
Um,
mapping?
so the review and gratitude, the daily review and the daily gratitude is very, very good. I reread the instructions and I saw that the gratitude was supposed to be a map. For me, it's a list, but it's an unbroken list. So it's just, you know,
Right.
many names. And so that was really cool. Choosing a different focus every day was excellent. So I people, of course, I started, and today I did good projects I've had at work. And that was kind of fun, to kind of go back and
Lovely.
revisit those. So that was very nice. And yesterday's my gratitude mapping was for recent experiences. So I just kind of went over all the things that kind of made me happy in the last week or so.
Lovely.
Um, but what I have learned, my big learning, self-learning, is that if you notice the mind maps, the first one is like, okay, it's a list, it's notes. I just took normal notes, but I tried to be a little bit freer in where I put the notes on the paper. And
Mhm.
then the second one is an attempt to really, I thought I was doing, in my mind, I was really starting out as a mind map. And by the third one, I realized that maybe if I started with color, I would actually stop just writing notes. So the third one of Dandapani's talk, which I loved that talk,
Yes.
was definitely, okay, I'm going to start with color. And that just helped a little bit. I don't know if it's a real mind map, but it's a looser form of note taking.
Yeah, and
So,
at least it's radiant. It's not that linear top to bottom and left to right. At least we are breaking that pattern, even if it's
right, I'm
not.
definitely trying to break the pattern. But one of the things I found very difficult was when I had taken pretty good notes when on our session. When I really listened to it again with the idea of doing a mind map, even though I knew what was coming and I, had a picture of the whole session in a way, I I, I can't mind map in real time.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, that's because just we have started, and there's no doubt that we can do it in I mean, by the end of the 6 weeks. I mean, not just live mind mapping, but we can definitely do a lot of things with this. And I'm so uh, mm, confident about that. I would say.
Good, good.
So yeah.
Right.
So with your permission, let me share the screen and start. And
Please. Yes.
the reason why I asked about your experience was we also had this Tony Buzan speaking about mind map, the inventor himself. And a part of this mind mapping program is we are talking about self-awareness, clarity. And so Dandapani's talk is something that is so much about that awareness, the ball of awareness moving from one place to other. And I just love this
yes.
talk. I love this talk. And I will share a
Yeah.
mind map with you about this talk in the
Oh,
coming
great.
session. Yeah. And this mind map was not made by me. Like, it was made by another person. I mean, one of my, I would say she was like somewhere around 40 years, and she was this project manager. And she's even now also working in an IT sector. So she was like very, she wanted mind mapping for her mainly project management, just to organize the
Yes.
stuff and not for any other
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
But now she started writing articles for her office magazine and all of that. And she teaches a 4-year-old also using like types of leaves, types of plants, types of animals, everything she will draw
Oh,
using mind maps. She will plan using mind maps. And she is a lady who, after at least 1 or 2 months, she revisited this Dandapani thing, talk. And again, then she made a mind map and sent to me. She said, now I think I have perfected the art, and she made it very beautifully. So I keep sharing
oh,
that with a
great.
lot of people. So I'll share that with you for sure.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yes, let's start. And okay, let me increase this. All right. So if you remember last time we spoke, we already have seen this, and we say that we are starting with clarity, and that was the first mind map we made. And let me quickly take you through what we have done in the previous session, kind of review of session 1. If you remember, we first made a mind map, collaborative mind map it was. So
Yes.
if you think, you can do a similar exercise with anyone else, and not just with one person, 2, 3 persons, where you become kind of the moderator or something, where you collect inputs from people and you start mapping out. So whether it's you can repeat this exercise with anyone else, and you can see it will work wonders, and with group of people also. So this is what we did, like vision mapping for you. And then I gave you an overview of the program, if you remember. We then learned
Yes.
about the 6 stages of learning, from introduction to mastery.
Yes.
And then we spoke about COCP, that is clarity, organization, creativity, and productivity. Then you showed me your CMR ratio. And yeah, and then
Yes.
we spoke a little bit about what kind of ideal, but then it varies from person to person. We saw the image of Tony Buzan, and then we tried to remember that you would say that 1944 minus 2, you would remember 1942, and COVID-19 2019. So that way we would
Mm-hmm.
remember. So we built up some stories. And then, if you remember, I gave you this analogy of library, where there are a lot of
Yes.
books but not organized. And same, it'll happen with our brain if we don't organize. Then we saw about clouds, rabbits, and elephants. We saw gift boxes, and we try to understand that the brain, uh, natural way of thinking is radiant, whereas we have trained our brain to work in linear manner. So there is this conflict between brain's natural way of thinking and what we have been doing. And brain loves imagination, association, and the brain is like a huge branching machine. The ideas are never linearly generated. The ideas always pops up in the brain at different point of time, and all of that we have seen. We then move to mindsets. In mindsets, we saw how brain thinks. We tried to address some of the common beliefs, where we say that reduced productivity, reduced memory, reduced this, that are all normal, because we have been told that it is normal, or we have been seeing people having that, but otherwise it's not natural. It's normal but not natural. We also
Mm-hmm.
saw a mind map of linear versus non-linear thinking, or radiant thinking. And with all of that, we then moved to the clarity mapping, step 1, which you made very beautifully. You have made that map also. So if we see, this was overall of what we did in the last session. And why am I doing this review, and which I'll be doing in every session, will be reviewing your previous session. The reason is, I can share this through the reason I can share with you through a story. For example, and I love this story because this is something that I have experienced. So the way to our college, during my engineering college, there's to be a shortcut that I and my friends used to go through. And in that shortcut, it was actually not a road, it was all grass. But then because we used it regularly, so there was actually a road created there, because all the girls from the girls hostel, used to walk that path and enter the college through the back gate.
Okay.
So it was like a path there. And then there was first year. And then we went for vacation. That, as I said, that is not the actual road, so nobody uses that road as such. And when we came back from the vacation, it was all grown up. The grasses were all grown back, and then we could not actually find out where that path was. So what I refer to this mind mapping is when we review a particular thing, when we review a particular, it could, or review or revisit, even if we just have a look at a photograph or look at maybe, okay, these are the 5 points I've read from this book, can I just refresh? So whenever we review, we are actually visiting that path. But if we don't visit it for so long, then it's just like that road which is there, but it got disappeared because it has not been visited for a long time. And hence the importance of review once in a while, especially if it is something important that we would want to remember. It is always good to have a review. We call it spaced review in mind mapping.
Wait, what do you call it?
Spaced review. Spaced
review.
Great. So what we do is, each of us, based on our own convenience, we create an interval. For example, let me share mine one. For example, if I make a mind map today of a particular textbook, let's say I have this mathematics textbook, and I make a mind map of this, of a particular chapter, maybe the whole textbook. So what I'll do is, after 1 week, because research says that in 10 days or 14 days, you will actually forget 90% of the thing that you have read.
Okay.
That means if I'm going to forget within 14 days, so it is very important that I revisit it before it is lost.
Yes.
So within 10 days or within a week, it is always good to revisit something that you have created. It could be a notes, it could be something that is important if you really want to remember that. So within a week. And then maybe after another 15 days. And then maybe after a month. So if you create this interval and review, what will happen is this thing will go to your long-term memory instead of, vanishing and going into the dump zone where even if it is there, it will never be able to find it out.
Right. It's in the messy library.
So this spaced review, we can always create for ourselves based on what is the project we are working upon. So for me, if I do a book review for myself, book summary, if I create, I will do it once in a week, then once in the same month, I'll just again do. And then after 3 months, I will check again just to test if I remember or not. And if I remember 70 to 80%, I'm very happy, because that's all is needed. And if I want to know more than 70 or 80%, I'll again go back to the book, and I will, of course, I can always, look at the mind map and say, okay, what was this? What was that? So, So, but again, here's a rule that in review, we should not spend more than 5 to 10 minutes. The idea is the time taken should be shorter than the actual creation. If in creation I took 1 hour, then in review, it should be hardly 5 to 10 minutes. So yes, that was the importance of review. And this is again a very important part of mind mapping. All mind mappers, you would say that once you create a mind map, please revisit it at least 3 times. And then leave it, and then put it somewhere in your drawer, and you can be confident that you will still remember at least 80%, 70 to 80% of the things. So yes, this was your beautiful mind map. And I love that you are good at teaching, managing, creating fun, writing, and consult. You have written consult for careers, conflict, decisions, education, contribute, challenges. I think, challenges. So if we see all of these challenges, mostly like, for example, overload is again related to productivity, less productivity. Again, when we know that we are not doing well somehow, I mean, if there is a thing like that in the brain, that for me, at least it works that way, I will procrastinate. But if I'm actually in that full speed and doing things automatically, I don't procrastinate also. But when there is a delay and then I have that feeling I'm not doing, I'll again further not do it.
It's self-sabotage that way.
It's kind of cycle. So I think, did you get some insight while making this mind map?
Absolutely. It was hard. So I wanted to start with challenges, and I thought, okay, don't always start from the negative. And the easiest one for me to start with was the consulting, right? Because you explained that really well. What do people come to you to talk about, to ask about all the time? So I started there, and that actually pretty good. And it also made me realize that there's a real consistency to the things that I like doing and I'm good at, to what people come to me for. So I feel that there is recognition out there, informally at least, of my skills. So I thought that was really great. Love was really hard because how do you narrow it down? And people, especially odd, but I had no other way to express that. I'm very interested in people. I love people. I want them to be happy. I'm also afraid of them, but that this is will help me realize that no, the bottom line is I love people, even, maybe I have too much empathy with people, even that, are bad or have failed or whatever, but I love all kinds of people.
So
So
compassion is
yeah,
your
no,
core essence. So compassion, your core principle, I think, in life is compassion. You're very
I
compassionate.
think people would say that, agree with that, and I know it is for me. And you sacrifice when that's your core thing, because you don't really, people say, oh well, just be compassionate with yourself, and like, no, you don't get it. That feels very, very artificial. But yeah, so yeah, no, it was very good. It's very good.
Lovely, lovely. I love that image at the center because corns are my favorite.
Oh yeah, no,
I was I
I
was like, oh
chose
my
that
God, how
image.
did that image come here? Because this is something I love, and I was just telling in the this afternoon also, this season I think I had less corn. I should get one after the session.
Yeah, no, I one of the things is I get so caught up in work and all this stuff that I don't do things that make me feel good about
Oh,
having a home and being, having a physical space. And so this is a Thanksgiving little centerpiece I made for myself so that I
lovely.
could kind of reflect. There's the candle that says something about be thankful, and corn and squash, those are kind of Thanksgiving symbols
Lovely.
from the Native Americans. So I wanted to honor them. And
Oh,
for me, this is just, I'm happy when I take the time and kind of go snooping around the house to see what I can put together to make to show something, and maybe create feelings in other people. So this
lovely.
was
Lovely.
yeah, that's what this was. And that's making life more beautiful. That's really something I really want to spend time eventually, just taking a moment and taking care of my physical environment.
Thank you. This
That
is
makes
lovely.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, loved it. Thank
So,
you so much for this.
yeah.
So, yeah, I've just spoken about the importance of review and about the experience. And before I move to breaks and why are breaks important, even for the brain and in mind mapping, I would want to say that, the best part about mind mapping, or for that matter, any kind of meditative art, even if in India we have, I mean, not in India, I think in every country they have some form of meditative art patterns, and even if we don't have any art, we don't know any art form, but even in just picking up a color pencil and just drawing it, it's not what the outcome will be, but it is a process that where the actual importance or significance lies actually. So what
Mm.
you just in your previous I mean in the previous slide, the mind map that you have shown, and you say that okay, the thought that went behind selecting that central image, and you might have revisited what were the things people have come towards me for consultation, what are the things, so that memory lane, going back to the memory lane, the process is very important. And same thing will apply for even when you'll be using it for example, you're planning your podcast or maybe your translation work, wherever you'll be using mind mapping, you will see that outcome is just the byproduct, but more importantly, it is a process that will get polished more and more as you do more and more of mind mapping.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
The process, yeah, because it's just like
Yeah.
another form of art. And for example, just take a photograph, even going before to this graph, I mean, imagine that you have a photograph, or just now the picture that we have seen of your mind map. It's a photograph for me, it's a photograph for you as well. And for that matter, if we just go and visit our family album or anything, the moment we see that photograph, it's nothing is written, it's just an image, but we can remember sometime the dates it was clicked, we can remember the people who were there, we can even remember, suppose we had a fight just before the click, we would even
Yeah.
remember that. And we would
Yeah.
remember so many other emotions related to that. So we all I mean, of course, we all know about that famous quote that a picture speaks 1,000 words. And I think that
Yes.
stands true for even mind mapping, because the emotions involved, the process involved is so in you get so internalized in the process that you actually carry that thing in your brain, even if after 4 or 5 years also you will remember, okay, at least some point of it you will remember, some part of it you will remember. In this mind and not mind map, in this graph, what I show you now is that on the x-axis we are plotting time, and on the y-axis we are plotting recall. It's a simple one, but what we would do is, for example, it is proved, research backed fact, that whether we are watching a movie, whether we are listening to a song, whether we are reading a newspaper or a book, or whether we are having a conversation with someone, so whatever it is, or even in a normal lecture, sitting in a classroom, maybe a student sitting in the classroom and teacher is teaching, so whatever it is, at the beginning, if you see, at this point of time, at the beginning of the time, the retention capacity is very high, and at the end of it, again, the retention capacity is very high. But at the center, if you see, the amount of recall drops. So so this is
We
what
call this the hammock. It's an important concept in marketing,
okay.
videos, writing, talks, anything that at some point in the middle, everyone's attention wanes. And so you have to design what it is that you're talking, that you always have chances for bringing people back up
Yeah, so
from the
there has
hammock.
to be something at the center to bring the
Yes.
people back, to bring the people back. And that's exactly what you have said. We do with not actual break, but breaks for the brain. May not be actually getting up and going somewhere, but for example, in sessions or in 45 minutes lecture, for example, what I would do is maybe take a just complete twist from the topic and break a some humor, or maybe a complete 180-degree turn, and whatever I was narrating, I will just I mean, just some complete twist in the story or something. So basically
Yeah.
breaking the monotony. So the moment we introduce a break, if you see, now the brain feels that that is the end of time. And the next moment,
Yes.
what will happen is, again, if you see the graph, the amount of retention is increasing.
Yes.
So the moment we introduce breaks in the form of actual break or breaking the monotony, whatever way it is, we will increase the retention capacity of our brain. And this is where, we also have this technique. I don't know whether you would like to try it or not, but at least it works for me and a lot of people. The Pomodoro technique, where what we do is we work for with a timer. I would just take my phone and put a timer,
Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
25 minutes, no WhatsApp, no Instagram, or nothing, no videos. In fact, I would tell my family members, no distraction, do not call me during this 25 minutes. And my brain now knows that there's no distraction anymore, because after 25 minutes, I have told, actually, my original plan is to sit for 3 hours or 2 hours, but I have told my brain that I'm just going to work for 25 minutes and then I'll take a break of 5 minutes. And in that
Yes.
5 minutes, I'll do whatever I want, maybe drink a glass of water, just move around the house, if anything is needed, whatever. And again, I come
Yeah.
back, again work for 25 minutes. So what happens, had I worked continuously for 1 hour or 2 hours, the amount of work that gets done is actually lesser. Whereas in this process where I do 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, or some people go for 30 minutes of
Yep.
work, 5 minutes of, so whatever frequency is convenient for you. But then instead of stretching it, not stretching it more than 45 minutes, short period, unless you're working on something where you are completely immersed. For example, you're writing, and there you don't want a break. You want to go on for 3-4 hours. That's a different case
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah.
But this is more for things where you don't get interest. So
Right. Right. Right.
yeah. And similarly, you can create the same experience as you say that in marketing, or even if you are giving a presentation, you are talking to somebody. So introducing that small breaks, sometimes in the form of actual breaks, and sometimes in the form of breaking the monotony just through some exercise or something. So that way, if you see now, the overall retention of the brain has increased just by introducing small breaks in the same time. So of course, the productivity also will increase if we introduce this. And
That's fascinating. I did find an app where you can, that is based on that method, so it automatically has the 25-minute default,
oh
you know,
wow, yeah,
and it lets you say what you did for the 25 minutes, and of course you can change the timing. And I thought it was interesting, but I
yeah.
didn't do anything because I thought it was a distraction. But now it's not, it's part of learning better brain retention. So
Yeah, it's
great.
lovely actually. 25 minutes, and because the brain knows that in this 25 minutes, nobody can disturb me. I am like kind of in a bubble. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you know Robin Sharma, the author.
Yes.
Yeah, so he calls it tight bubble of total focus.
Oh, nice.
Complete. It's like you have made a bubble for yourself. You're sitting inside the bubble and you are in total focus. And only you can break that focus. Only you have the key to that focus. Now there's an emergency at home or something, then you can always, you can go and help it out. But then if you know it's not that emergency and not that urgent, you know exactly where focus should go. So you are in a tight bubble of total focus. So he
Mm.
uses this term. So yeah. And so this was all about breaks and reviews and all of that. But coming to the main topic about why a mind map, we have covered in the last session. Today we shall see a little bit about what is a mind map, how we can make a small mind map, and all of those steps. So as we know that we always want to start a mind map because it's a radiant way of thinking, radiant way of organizing information, and we always start at the center, not at the top, not at the bottom, not left, not right, but center. And it's always advisable that we have some image, at least some image at the center of the paper. And right
Okay.
here, if you see that it's the simplest image one can draw, there is nothing
Yeah.
in this image.
Cute.
But then there is, at least if there is something that it gives me a starting point. And for example, if I make a mind map of myself, sometimes I just try to make a mind map of myself, and I would make sometimes sun rays, sometimes I would make a small clay lamp. And the other day I'm working with a teenager, super teen, and I said, okay, draw a central image about yourself, anything that comes to your mind. And he made an eye, a big eye. And I said, why did
Ooh.
you make that? And he said, that was the out of the 10 sessions that he took with me, that was the 9th session. So it was almost winding up. He said that I think my perspective towards, my perspective to how I look towards the world has changed a lot. And now I know
Oh,
that there is no right and there is no wrong. So, his vision has broadened. And that's why he made that. And he explained to me the entire thing. And I was like, oh my God. So just an eye he made. And whereas for
yeah.
myself, I make this clay lamps, or sometimes I make just sun rays ready. If I'm very happy, I'll make a sun at the center.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So some
Love
image
it.
at the center, and then we make the lines. Now the lines need not be so fancy like this.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a simple line. But the important point here is Tony Buzan, or not just Tony Buzan, any mind mapper, they know this importance that the moment you draw this line curved, it is like telling your brain, flow, let the ideas flow. And the moment you draw straight, it's like restricting. So if you see here, the branches are all curved.
Yeah.
And organic. So I'll be sharing the entire mind map also with you, this image and in the link that, yeah. But it will be like this. So yeah.
You put the lines before you even kind of start. You start the line at least.
Yeah.
So,
No, when you actually draw the mind map, what I would suggest is you make the central image and at least you draw the branch, because you have in your mind, let's say maybe 4 or 5 branches would be required, or at least 4. And then if you want to increase, you can increase. May not be the secondary branches, but at least the primary ones you can make.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
it gives your
Got
brain
it.
a starting point that, okay, now I have to think in this direction.
Okay.
So you make lines.
So not just color for me, but also the curving lines.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
good.
lines, and the lines must be organic. They should radiate just like the branches of trees. And if you see the main line, that is the main branch that is coming from the center, is a little thicker and the outer lines are thinner. Yeah. And right now the mind map I'm showing you is a mind map of how to make a mind map. So instead of showing you through a very plain, presentation, this is a good way to show how to make a mind map using mind maps. So yeah, and it is said that when we are writing the word, the length of the word, suppose it's just like a 3-letter word and the line we have made it too long, then it feels like it's a very loosely related. So the brain thinks it's unimportant. It's not that important. So it's important that the length of the line should be somewhere equal to the length of the word. I mean, we need not measure, but we need not draw a long line beforehand and then we say, okay, now the word is very small. So that will, of course, come with more and more practice. But yeah, this is what it is.
That's fascinating.
And then some people have this habit of, and they write very fast, and similarly they would make a mind maps also very fast, which is okay. But then in that hurry, what they would do is they will not connect the lines. The lines may, the moment, if you see around this, everywhere it is connected, nowhere it is disconnected. So it gives an idea to the brain that each and every topic is connected to the central topic. So just for that, all the lines should be connected instead of loose.
Yeah.
So this is all about lines. The first rule of mind mapping. This is. The second one is about words. So now this is, I think, the most challenging one. I have written quite a number of times, even on LinkedIn, about this, and on different platforms, that words, they say that it should be just one keyword, one word per branch. That is the rule. And now this is challenging, but the problem is if we use too many words, then again, the brain feels it is like restricting the flow. And I will show you an example also of that. But before that, about words, one rule is that there should be only one word per branch to the best extent possible. At certain times, it may not be possible, and that is okay. We need not be very restrictive with the rules as well.
Yeah.
Next thing is the word should decrease in size. If either they can be equal or they can decrease. It need not, I mean, it's just to show, I mean, if you see here that the size is big at the center. The rest of the branches we cannot measure and do, we can just do it as it is, but at least the main, it's more like headline. If you see the line, words. So it's a little bit bigger than the others. That's it. We need not measure and do it very accurately. We can be very, subtle with the rules. It's okay. But then the more we follow the rules, the more effective the outcome will be. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so if you see here, I have written, it's written size is, center is big and outer is small.
So good. Thank you for reading that for me, because I'm like, wait, she just said the important, the beginning of the branch should be big, but here the tip is big, but it's because you're conveying
because
information.
conveying the size at the center should be big and outer should be small.
Got it.
Yeah.
And
then sentences imprison the brain, and hence they and so we will try to avoid a lot of sentences, at least in the mind map,
yeah.
So I'll now show you an example of why we should try to avoid long sentences or phrases in a mind map. So let's take this example. We have a word or phrase. Let's imagine that there's this person who wants to find out why the product launch was unsuccessful. He just wants to mind map, or she just wants to mind map or brainstorm. Why did it go unsuccessful? And so the word he thought he would write was maybe the central image is a launch. So this is the launch. And then he made a long branch and wrote unsuccessful product launch. But as per the rule, we should use only one keyword. So let's try to break this. The moment we write unsuccessful product launch, it's like telling my brain everything about the product launch was unsuccessful. But it's like restricting, telling the brain there is no way forward. Everything is unsuccessful. But now, moment we break it like this, for example, product, then launch, then successful, and then may not be successful. So I can either write not successful or unsuccessful. So it is written un. So product, launch, successful, un. And now if we see product, and we can think about the product, whom did we target, and all of that about, market. So whatever we want to talk about the market, target and audience and whatever it is, we can talk about in one branch now about the product. Next, we can talk about just launch. And again, about launch also, there could be so many things, maybe the location, the timing, all of that we can think about. And then in the successful branch also, we can see about the various things that were actually successful. Maybe the guests were very happy. Maybe people were very happy with the food. But what was not happy? Maybe people were not happy. Somehow the media thing was not good, or can we go for some alternative news channel next time or something? Could we control it in a better manner? So all of these things, now we try to see that the moment we have broken it into keywords, we are actually seeing a bigger picture of the entire product launch. We can even find out that did we target the proper market or not? And is that the reason it was unsuccessful? So many ideas open up the moment we break it into keywords. So hence the importance of keywords in a mind map. And each keyword, it is said that each keyword can trigger some 100 or thousands of ideas, especially if you're brainstorming. So it is very important. In some books and all, when we write down some topics, it becomes very difficult to choose one keyword. But when we are brainstorming, it is advisable that we always use one word per branch. So this is about keywords and colors. So in a mind map, we can use colors throughout, and that would be great because colors are very stimulating for the brain. It helps in better retention. And we can also make links in a mind map. For example, we see that this particular branch, whatever thing is there in that branch information, relates to the first branch. So can I draw a dotted line and link it? So links are also possible. So colors, yes, links we can create. And now images. So images, we can use some symbols, some stars. Suppose I know that one of my particular branch, there is something very important and I need to remember this. So I'll put a star there. I'll put a heart. Some colors and codes and symbols I can always use, just like how we used to do in school and all, to mark something important. Something like that. And then yes, you can use symbols. So for example, it is written that colors can be used throughout. Symbols also can be used. Images also can be used throughout. So I see that throughout and throughout in two places. So I just put a link. So even that can be done. So we can create links and dimensions. This is more like some people, they would like to, if they are not using directly images, they will create some different dimensions, at least at the center. They will write the words in big letters, or they will try to create a 3D thing with sketch pen itself. So some kind of dimensions you can always use. I mean, this is optional again. Codes you can use, like tick mark, some symbols. So codes you
Right.
can use. And yes, you can make the entire process fun by using images.
Yeah.
So, and we say that always use 3+ color, at least in a mind map. And
Okay.
even if you are not using images throughout the mind map, but at least at the center, that is the minimum requirement, that at least at the center there should be some image that relates to your topic. Or it need not make any sense for the entire world, it is okay, but it makes sense to you, even that is fine.
Cool.
And then comes the last rule, that is about the structure of mind map. So if you have observed the mind map, we have read clockwise.
Yep.
We have read it clockwise. So this is the order that we have read, the basic ordering of ideas. If you see, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, we have read it in this manner. We come clockwise, 1, 2, 3, and then, for example, how would I read this image symbol? First, I mean this portion where images are drawn, I would first read symbols, then I will
Yes.
read throughout, then I'll read
Yeah.
dimension, codes, fun, always 3+ color, and always at the center. So this is how I would read it. Then I would read basic ordering of ideas.
Yep.
And 1, 2, 3. So that gives a clarity to the brain. This is how it has to be read. So clockwise, and this is how it is read, a mind map. And then, yeah, automatically by using different colors, by using different sizes of letters, by using different ordering of ideas, you are actually creating a kind of hierarchy.
Uh-huh.
Though it is radiant thinking, but then there is some hierarchy in thinking, telling me which topic is more important, which topic is a little bit away from the main topic, but then it is related. So all of that can be done. You can create as many links as possible. You can create arrows and all for that. If you find some relation between two branches, you can always create. For example, in your, let me quickly go back to your mind map and tell you. For example, here, you have written that you are good at teaching. And again, you say that people came to you for consultation in education. You are saying you are good at managing, and then you are also writing their conflict. You can manage people, maybe you can manage, you can solve problems, people's problem for you, because you are compassionate, which you discussed with me, which also means that you always put people first. So if you see, there is a relation, so you can actually draw some links now. You can,
Okay.
if you take a printout of this, you can actually think and create links. And if you have seen that I have created second level, third level, fourth level, for example, you can write here communication. For you have written here contribute and then communication. So from communication, you can take out another branch now, maybe just with pen. You can take out when you print out, just with pen, you can add, and you can think about that. You can narrow down what in communication, what is that? For example, in your case, even the translation work that you are doing, you are communicating. So what is that you are doing? Then project lead, and then you can think about, okay, what contribution in project lead? Similarly, in consultation, can you remember about one particular conflict that you have resolved? Or maybe something that has made a difference in somebody's life? Something like so, and then you again link it back to, okay, because this is because I love people. So you love people, and that is why you are good at managing maybe people, and then you are contributing through communication. You help people through in decision making, in conflict resolution, you help them in their career, and all this comes from the reason that you love people, you love understanding them. So you can actually link all of that, so you can create links. Yes, this is it. So this is the complete mind map, if you see now. Okay, let me, yeah. So this is the complete mind map of how a mind map should be made.
Yes.
And
Oh,
let me show you the rules now. So just now, whatever we have done, the same thing I have just put it in the form of in a software. So the first
yes.
problem with software is the branches are long, the words are shorter. And there are some problems, the branches are not so curved. In some software it is curved, in some software, but then yeah, very quickly I'll share this mind map as well with you. And
Okay.
I will quickly go through the mind map again. So it is saying the branches should be organic, connected, curved, length should be appropriate, thickness should be descending order. And why should we, if you see a question mark here, it is asking that why all this?
Ah,
So
okay.
because it is easy, it gives spontaneity to your brain. It allows your thinking to be more visual. You can learn faster, retain more, and it gives a flow to your brain. And then this is a rule that maximum there should be equal to or less than 7 branches in one mind map,
Okay.
so that there is not too much of chaos in the same mind map, especially if you are making it, I mean, if you are hand drawing it. In software, we sometimes put even 10 branches, but hand drawn one, 7 is the optimum one.
Okay.
And then about words, keywords. So I'll be sending you both the mind maps so that you can retain this. So words, if you see gist, what was it? We have to avoid too many connectors, like 3-4 words together. We need not put, we will try to put just one, because mostly those are fillers. Then
Yep.
the words, if you have noticed, all the words were written on top of the branch and not below the branch. So that is also a rule. So it has to be
Wow.
written above the branch. And if you want to say that this particular keyword is very important, if you want to tell your brain, then you have to use caps lock. I mean, more capital
Yeah.
letters. Then it tells your brain that it is important. Just like this, caps,
Yes.
it will give a signal to your brain it is important. Why do we use keywords? Because it unlocks sentences, just like the one we have seen in product launch unsuccessful. The moment
Yeah.
we broke it, it gave us flow of ideas. So it will unpack your ideas, it will help you capture more, and it will spark your creativity and divergent thinking. You will be able to think divergently the moment you break the words.
Okay.
And colors, brain love colors. And at least you should use 3 colors. Why? Because it is appealing, it aids memory, it brings some uniformity, it gives some uniformity. For example, some people they also create color codes based on their brand. So
Oh,
they will use some only 3 or 4 colors even in their mind maps also, just to create, resonate with their branding. Some people
yep.
not for the purpose of branding, but just to tell their brain. So every time something is important, they will put in red color branch. Everything something is done already, they will put in green color branch. So they use some color codes for themselves, and it is completely a
Okay.
personal choice. Yeah. Then about structure, if you see the structure, it is divergent, convergent. So if you see first the first words, for example, in this mind map, the first words or the first branch words are branches, words, colors, structure, and images. These are the primary level words. It means these are more important. And then from there, it is unpacking. So here we are saying that first we do divergent, and then again, if we go back, the same mind map, it also converges.
Hmm.
Then it gives clarity of thoughts. It prioritizes the moment you structure properly, you are prioritizing the concepts, that something at the center is more important, something at the
Right.
periphery is just like discussing, we are just going into more details. So it's more about how you are personalizing your mind map. It is completely based on the individual's requirement. And
Hmm.
yes, generally we would read it clockwise. And images, we have already known that images, we have to create uniformity. It gives some uniformity to your thought processes. You can actually use emojis and icons and all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, the center image is a must. And again, here must is in capital letter, because I want to tell my brain that it is important.
Yeah.
So would you like to take a moment to absorb this?
Yeah. I am a little confused by some of the branches are written as though they are almost sentences. So for center image must, I think I would have gone, I would have left out image because it's a little redundant. We're
Yes,
talking about images. And
absolutely.
so,
And
yeah,
even
it's
thought
just,
process. What do you think about thought process?
um, I guess you could just write it thoughts,
Yes,
or thinking.
yes, thinking. It
But
gives information and thinking.
it's like most of them are definitely, I see how they're put together. And I'm thinking of almost like sentence diagramming, right? Curved,
Wow.
radiant, they're curved and radiant. Length is appropriate. So I guess you don't have to be super strict. It's not like diagramming a sentence. You're just
Yeah.
connecting ideas.
Okay, now have a
So
look at this.
is
Just a
that
minute.
right?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course. Yeah, of course. Now, no, I'm just showing you the two difference. That's why, yeah. Now, can you have a look at this? This
Right.
is perfect in all its senses.
Yes.
So this mind map was made by the vice president, and I think currently he is the president of the Tony Buzan Academy.
Oh,
Yes.
very cool.
And I tell this little
Very
later because, only once we explain, that is how he told me also, only once you explain everything and then say. And now I'll tell you that this mind map, the one that you see here, the 5 rules of mind mapping, this is made by a person who is, I don't know how to explain that, but this person met with an accident some 15 years back, and except for his head, his entire body is paralyzed now. So he sits in a wheelchair and he was not able to find out a way how he could. He's a resilience coach, by the way, now, very strong person.
Oh,
So
wow.
2 years back we met, and he has so much of ideas, so much of knowledge, excellent person, but making PPT for him is impossible. He cannot, he only can use things with voice control. And he tells that mind mapping has given him an extended sense organ. And
Wow.
now I'll share the interview with him, maybe in one of your sessions. I'll share the link. So
Yes.
he made this mind map. Can you imagine? Only with
That's,
voice control. He cannot use, he's not privileged like you and me to use anything, any of his body part except for his brain. Everything,
yeah.
he's completely dependent upon his caretaker. Yet,
And
this,
so this really lets him use very micro units of information, a word and a diagram, and communicate pretty complicated thoughts.
yes, yes. So I just thought of showing this two mind maps. I mean, though they say the same thing, but it's a different thing. So this is a one made by the world president. He
Yeah.
resides in Australia right now. So he is my direct mentor with whom I was in contact, and complete learning I did from him. And this is from the person, he made this and gave it to me. I said, lovely.
Wow. Like a gift.
Because he
Yeah.
cannot draw. He cannot draw with hands. So he is completely
Right.
dependent.
Right.
So he uses this software.
Yeah.
So, and this is a mind map made by
Oh,
Tony Buzan himself.
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I like the apple. He's got Eve there.
Yeah.
Oh, keep the doctor away. Oh, that's, wow. Really, it's like a cartoonist, right? He thinks
Yeah.
like
Isn't it
little
beautiful?
picture stories.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow.
This is there's a book called How to Mind Map by Tony Buzan. It's a very small handbook. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the figure 1, basic mind map on fruit. He calls it for children. So
That's
I love
great.
this. Yeah, I love this. And this is long. I mean, I think some long back, I made a mind map, and very
Yes.
quickly, yeah. This mind map I made it in some 3 to 4 minutes with a timer. Generally, I keep a timer and then try to mind map, so that I train that, okay, this is how fast it should work. Sometimes,
Wow.
and not always. I mean, sometimes I put a timer. Sometimes I just allow myself to take time. And this is the person who has made that mind map. The vice president.
Wow.
Yeah, this is
Did
a
you
mind map.
draw that?
Yes, yes, I made it for him. And this was also
Oh,
long back, long back. So just I wanted to
oh,
tell that
that's beautiful.
he sparked joy in me. So I wanted to thank him for training me, for guiding me through the path. He's an amazing teacher. And then I linked it to
Yeah.
learnings that his qualities are of a true person, teacher, mentor. And, he's the vice president of Tony Buzan Group. He's also called as the Grandmaster. We call him Grandmaster. And he's an author and he wears many hats. So I'm not a great artist, but I just try to make
Oh,
picture at the
this
center.
is so sweet.
And
Love it.
this is again a mind map of how a person is feeling at different point of time. Sometimes she feels cool, sometimes warm, sometimes joyous. And again, if you see what comes as joy by listening to folk music, is also makes that same thing also feels that person cool and balanced.
Oh,
So, and again, if warmth is family, then being with family is also joy. So there is a link between this joy family, you
mm-hmm.
see, and in the warmth branch also there is family. And both, that means being with family gives warmth and it also brings joy to this person. So somehow just I was trying to show that this is how you can link, and the branches need not be very straight. If you see, the branches are just like the branches of trees. It's free flowing everywhere.
Yeah.
The music branch, it's going one direction, then next direction, and again coming back. So all of that we can do with mind mapping. And some small codes are used for joy, for exercise, for cool, for balanced. If you see some
Yeah.
small for warmth, so some small pictures and all.
Yeah.
This is again a mind map
Wow.
made by a school teacher who planned her lessons, who now uses mind mapping for teaching chemistry and mathematics.
Wow.
So she made me here.
Oh,
It's
that's
funny.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
Superman.
And she said she found a treasure box. That is why she has made this treasure. Mind mapping has opened a lot of treasure for she found the treasure box through mind mapping.
Oh,
And she now uses it for lesson planning. If you see on the right side, the benefit.
yes.
Yeah. So there's a different ways. This is her way of, she's very artistic. So for example, I'm not so artistic, so I wouldn't do this, but she does it this way though. And she uses the same concept for teaching even chemistry and maths in her school to her students now.
Wow.
So yeah.
Very cool.
I, sa-
Excellent.
I wanted to tell that breaks are so important, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. Are those tacos? No, what? Okay. The
So,
secret sauce.
so
Yes.
I think even before, so is there any confusion that you have till now, or how has it been till now? The rules and why we have those
No,
rules?
no, I just already you've had me kind of create different types of mind maps. Where one type is it's all of it comes from you. The other ones are they come from a piece body of knowledge, information. So that's already really interesting. And then you've shown me more variations on that. So
Yeah. So
that's really cool.
in the coming weeks, I'll show you more and more variations just to, I mean, wish that every one of us pick our own definition of a personalized mind map. For example, when I make the branches, I make it very fancy. I love that. I will shade it and I'll make some
I
patterns.
love the stripes and the dots. Yeah.
And whereas I see that a lot of people, they would say, oh no, we would just fully color it. Some say that they won't make it even a thick branch. They would just make the line. And that's okay. That's how they love
Oh,
it. So
yeah.
whichever way they like, I mean, it's completely up to them. But yeah, we can choose our own ways. And that is the reason when we see a lot of variations, we pick up our own ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Get
So
good ideas.
we have the secret sauce, but I would want that let us skip the secret sauce because it's, um, you know, Tony Buzan, even before he invented, or not invented, I mean, though he's credited, I would more say that when he put together this thing as mind map, and there's this story that goes around like this, an actual fact, that in 1974, BBC called him for an interview about telling the world what a mind map is, and a little bit of discussion about what a mind map is. But even before that happened, he was actually trying to understand that how human eyes capture information, why we love images more than any other things, why every time we say an apple or any word, why it is that always the brain tries to think in terms of images. And so what is that, how we think, what are the things that we love more or we remember more. So all of those things about how brain takes in information and how it produces the information, that was one thing. So while he was doing all of this, he came across this most important graph, and then it is said that the most important graph became the genesis, that was the starting point of a mind map. Because only this the mind map came. And when he was called to BBC somewhere around 1974 to talk about mind mapping, that videos are still there in YouTube. So it's I have seen some of those videos and all. So it seems that it became, of course, around that time I was not born, but then the stories that I hear from my seniors and the senior mind mappers and all, they say that it was around that time that it became so popular that BBC requested him to produce a 10-part series on the same topic.
Ooh.
And then the 10-part series became so popular that it was repeated, because during that time we didn't have a lot of channels, I mean, not like the television industry now.
Right. And there were
It
3 or
was
4
repeated.
channels.
Yeah, so it was repeated continuously every week for 10 years.
Wow.
And then they said, okay, this should become a book. So then it was converted to a book, which still after 40 years or, so, or more remains a classic bestseller. So the book is called Use Your Head.
What is it called?
Use Your Head.
Oh, Use Your Head. That's so funny.
Yeah. So that's the story about, how mind mapping suddenly, earlier he was teaching it to people. He taught it to some students. He taught it to dyslexic people with learning disabilities. He turned the complete equation around for these people by using mind mapping. So he was already doing this. He was an educator. He was a consultant to government agencies. So all of that he was doing using mind mapping. He helped people to plan cities using mind maps in Gulf countries and all. So all of that was happening, but then even then it was only accessible to some people and may not be, the entire world was not knowing about it. But then with this book and the BBC series in 1974, it was almost like presented to the world in the form of a gift, that now everybody could, even a school child or a company person, anyone could actually use mind map for whatever purpose they want.
Yeah.
So how it went and what is the secret sauce, there are 7 principles to that. The 7 principles, and you will relate to this more because you have this background in marketing, and I mean, as you were saying, so how this marketing people, they will use the power of association and repetition. Like when you repeat something for 3 times, brain remembers that. So all of that principle. So we will take up this topic because it's 8/6. We will pick up this topic in the next class. And can we, I would want to show you a mind map rather.
Yes.
Yeah, let me show you a mind map. So this is again a mind map, though it is shown here in the form of a software made mind map. But when we actually do it, whether it is me or my students or whoever doing it, they would generally do it with hand-drawn mind maps, where they put whatever stress it is that they are facing. And this, we used to use this for our students. My students, when I was working in college, my students were generally from the age group of 18 to 25 years. And I was counselor to some 16 or 20 of them, boys and 2 girls. So they used to come with all kind of some sort of issues or whatever. So this is, of course, there are many other levels of the counseling maps, but this is one of the first thing that we do. And we put that issue or whatever it is that they are facing, they put a central image and they put it at the center. And then the first level is we ask them to be aware and of whatever behavior, whether it is loss of appetite, or they feel irritated, they don't get sleep, or they feel like just crying out, they feel impatient, whatever it is, what are the behavioral issues that you face? And then again, it's more like causes, the symptoms. And then again, feeling, what are the feelings that they feel? Maybe confused or betrayed, or expectations were not met, or somebody failed their expectations, or they feel the urge to prove themselves, and then in the process they got hurt, or are they envious about someone? So all of this. So here we can keep on adding as many questions as we want. And sometimes I use a similar version of a mind map for myself, where I ask myself that, okay, let me bring back my awareness to this moment and ask that why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling? And I keep on asking why? And then maybe, okay, this is where it is connecting to. And then from there, I go to journaling about my feelings. If you see from 1, it goes to 2. But 2 is not a branch anywhere. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's just a picture down there.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is called floating topics in a mind map, which do not directly connect with the mind map, but it is a part of it. So we put it separately, and we will put links, but we will not it will pull it out through a branch. So even this is one way of making a mind map, where we some topics we feel that it's not directly related, so we put it aside and then link. So number 2 is journaling about the feelings. And once they journal about the feeling, then they go to affirmations. If I mean, some affirmations or something like that, they would want to do some exercises. Again, going to the next one is they I ask them to go through, some of their own accomplishments, because as you also mentioned, I think you must have already experienced this all your life, that generally we forget about ourselves only. We hardly remember. Suppose if somebody asks us that, okay, what were the accomplishments you have done 5 years back, and you might have to think through, you'll hardly remember 1 or 2 significant ones, but you will forget. You might have volunteered here, this, that, unless somebody shows you a picture or something, like you might have forgotten also that. So this is something we do in mind mapping, that we think about our accomplishments, what help we have done for the family, maybe in school, college, job, community, anywhere. So I ask them, and again, this is again, if you see, there are 2 links from journaling about the feelings. It goes to accomplishments, it goes to affirmations. So every time we feel, we can use journaling as this is just a process that is shown. We may not even use this mind map. We can just create a template and navigate and help the children. Okay, you can do this. And then we suggest that what are the things they can do, some self-care things. We suggest people based on that okay, if some hobbies, then they can restart. Maybe they have stopped and they can start doing, or maybe they will, what are the things that will make them feel relaxed, or would they like to read, or would they love to meditate or something. So this is again a very basic version. What we do is, based on our person with whom we are counseling, based on him or her issue, or after listening to him, in the second one we make a more personalized version of this. Then we go and together in the same paper, the person is sitting in the opposite direction, we keep a big paper at the center on the table, and then we start doing it. And what happens is, in the process, a lot of things, if they say, okay, I actually was having this urge to prove, then the person will again go and say, okay, so can I do this, that from today I will be conscious about what activity I'm going to do whenever I feel so. And then we do this. So there is this psychological counselor in India, one of my client from 2021. She has started noting down in a mind map her patient history, and she finds that patients are very happy now, because they want to see their own mind maps every time. How
true.
From the first meeting to the 10th meeting or the 5th meeting, how the mind map has evolved. So along with her patient diary, she puts 1 paper each, A4 sheet, for mind mapping with them. And they say that it is so relaxing. It's like kind of therapeutic for them. So yes, do you have some time, or it's over? Do you have some time, or?
Let me see what I booked. I know I was trying to book a lot of extra time around these meetings, but what did I do? Oh no, I've got to run. Oh no. Yes, I'm very late
Okay, so
for other. Let me just cancel the other meeting and just say I'm really sorry, and then we can just keep going here.
no, we'll just need maybe another 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's fine. Yes. Yeah. This is you're watching me in a little bit of a meltdown mode as I realize that I again came late to a meeting. This is the second time I've done it with this one
Oh,
person, and I just feel really bad.
oh, so you want,
Okay.
if you want, we can stop here and we can continue.
No, he's already canceled. He's already said
Okay,
let's
okay,
reschedule. So yeah,
okay,
thank you.
okay. So, yeah, so we'll keep the seven principles of Tony Buzan for the next session. But
Yes.
today's mind map that we would want to draw is this one. I mean, I would want you to draw it later, but we can at least have a look at this. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is the mind map, if you see. So we call it the
Yes.
4W map. And if you see why we are calling it 4W, there's this why, when, where, and what.
Oh.
So this is a mind map that we can make before we start anything new. It could be any project, it could be learning a new skill, or just anything for that matter. Or even if we have a goal, we can write that at the center. So we call this 7 steps to make this mind map. So step 1 is we identify the goal or the skill or whatever it is we want to do at the center of the paper. So this is the center of the paper, and we can just write down the name of the skill, even, or maybe some image. And then we just ask ourselves two, I mean, our brain might give us 10 reasons why we want to do that. But again, we will think of all those reasons, and then we will think, okay, this reason, this reason, this reason. But what is that main reason, that non-negotiable 2 reasons why I want to do this? And then I will write those 2 reasons why I want to do that. And once, for example, it could be simply reading a book, or maybe mind mapping, that why I want
Yeah.
to learn mind mapping. And I will write 2 reasons why. And then after that, now that I know my why, the second thing will be, when is the time, duration, and frequency when I'm going to practice this, or whatever skill it is. So time, tentative, at least some time I will put it here. Duration, let's say 15 minutes per day or 1 hour per day, whatever it is. Frequency, am I going to do it like 5 days per week, or 7 days per week, or 3 days per week? So whatever frequency. So all of that I will write it here. And then at least one place that may not be permanent, but for example, if I'm a working person and I want to do it morning, just after my prayer or meditation, or maybe after my morning walk, I want to do it in the garden itself or in the park itself. So somewhere, some place where I want
Yeah.
to do it, because the moment we dedicate a space for that activity, it is more like training your brain that, okay, this is the space and I now need to go to that space. And then the space holds the energy that this space is meant for this purpose. And I use this entire thing even from writing my books, that whenever I go to space, I know that that space is for my book writing thing. And the previous night I would clear and set up everything in place. So next morning, the moment I get up, do my chores, whatever, prayer, bathing, everything is done, yoga is done, and then the next moment, what, I just have to go to that, and now I know this space is inviting me to write the book. And then 90 minutes, yeah, 90 minutes without a break, I would go for writing. Straight 90 minutes, no pomodoro, no breaks, no distraction, because early morning,
Right,
90
right.
minutes. And then entire day I would not focus on my books, because 90 minutes gives me a good amount of good chunk. And weekends I would work more. Weekdays only 90 minutes for my book. Per day, 90 minutes was the frequency. So I made a similar kind of map for myself as well. And then finally, what am I going to do for that? So some implementation strategy, or in case of mind mapping, you might say that I have to practice it every day, or am I going to have an accountability partner, or what kind of commitment am I going to do? So it's more like, what are the things I will do for learning this skill, because I have decided the time, I know my purpose, I have decided the space, what I'm
But
left
what are you going to
is,
do in your space?
yeah, what is that? So For example, if I give you the example of the book writing, my central image was book writing. Why? Because I want to share that knowledge. Next, because it was in 2021, so I was also trying to build a credibility for myself. So it's clear. Then next, when? So time, duration, frequency. Time was morning 7 to 8:30. Duration 90 minutes. Frequency 5 days a week. And then at the in the bracket somewhere small I have written in during the weekends I'll work more. Then where?
Yeah.
Then there was this particular space in our living room, one table, and that was the space I would write every morning. And then the space also changed over time. Then what I would do, I would note out whatever happens every day, I would write. Then peer share, yes, I had some accountability partners. Then I said, no, I'll write every day. Suppose I do not finish also 10,000, suppose I say every day I'll write 1,500 words. But if I don't complete 1,500 words, then that is accumulating. So I said, okay, per week, 1,500, I will write 10,000 words. So if I do not complete in 90 minutes, all that will accumulate. And during weekend, I have to work hard. So all of those strategies I wrote in the what branch. So now that was clear. And then now I just have to follow the instructions that I've given myself. So I would share this thing. And what I say is that once you do all of this, once you have mapped out every possible detail, the most important thing is sign the mind map and start taking action.
Wow. Okay.
Because once you have signed, there's no looking back. It's your signature there. So you can try this mind map in the coming week. Just make this mind map. I'll share this complete document with you. And of course, I'll be sharing to TEDx talk and a little bit more detail, just like previous time, this discussion as well. And yes, I'll stop sharing.
Okay.
So did you find the session valuable and interesting?
Oh, yes. Very, on both. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, we came to the second session. Next session, we will be talking about book reading, article mapping, and 7 principles of this what Tony Buzan call it as most important graph. These are the 3 topics we have for next week. I mean, it's all sorted out.
Good.
I have it all in the mind map as well as there's a copy here, and I have mind maps, but those mind maps are in my house. I could not bring it here. As I say, I'm at my in-laws place. I'm visiting my in-laws place. So yeah, right now I'm here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And yeah, I would love to meet you again in the next week. And there's this small request from my end that the link and the video and all that I send, I'll be able to send it to you on Saturday night. I mean, for you it will be Saturday morning.
After your holiday.
Yeah, because tomorrow and day after we are having some rituals. So Saturday, your time, 9:30, 10 a.m., you will be receiving it. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yes.
Okay, Charlie. So tomorrow we are not working.
Okay.
Tomorrow it's a holiday for us. Yeah.
Good. Okay, we need our holidays. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next week then.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you for everything.
Have a great day. Yeah.